Assassin's Creed Valhalla is 1 year old, or we're close to that 1 year anniversary, depending on when you watch this. So year 2 is upon us. I don't think it will immediately kick off on November 10th, but we do know that Ubisoft has big plans for a second year of content. And we actually now learned when we can expect to see those massive plans in action. I asked Jose about a second season pass too, and I want to kind of predict the future schedule for releases. So there's really a ton to go over. Of course, if you enjoy the Valhalla content here on the channel, then don't leave a like on the video. That would be really awesome, and let's go. So what we know so far, and this stuff is as good as confirmed thanks to pretty prominent leaks, although Ubisoft did not talk about it yet. What we know is that the third expansion for Assassin's Creed seems to be called Dawn of Ragnarok. It takes place in Svartalfheim, the realm of the dwarves, gives us crazy new abilities, has us fight in a arena, potentially as a way to replay mythical creatures. Like, this seems to be the Fate of Atlantis content from Odyssey, but for Valhalla. And with the trophies already being found in the game files, I touched on those in a previous video, which I will link to in the video description. Like, the expansion seems pretty far along. Now people were speculating that it might already launch this year as a big like Christmas coming out party, but that is sadly not possible anymore because Ubisoft released their full third quarter release schedule with no mention of Valhalla at all. Now instead, Ubisoft said that they expect back catalog sales to grow in Q4 of their financial year, so that's between January 2022 and March 2022, thanks to bigger post-launch plans for Valhalla and The Division 2. If you're not familiar, back catalog sales means sales for games that released before the current financial year. So they expect big things for Valhalla, and we actually already know what The Division 2 has planned. Recently they namely announced the new season, game modes and associated content would release in February 2022, with a full reveal in January 2022. And this will kind of be a relaunch for The Division 2 after almost a year of no new content. Sure, that's not the case for Valhalla. We had updates like every 6 weeks, but it's hard to deny that the game is kind of in a new low in terms of interest. At least that's what I'm seeing a bit. Don't get me wrong, I'm still like totally excited for the 1.4 update. The new tombs sound very interesting. I will go more in depth on it in a future video. The new Wild Hunt Halloween style festival is still coming. And I also think we get the second Mastery challenges still this year as the update after the 1.4 one, so likely in December. And I think something else is returning. I namely asked Jose a few months ago about what to expect from year 2, and this is what he said.
Yeah, you're going to see some other different content. There'll be a little bit of everything. It's not going to be 100% new, and it's not going to be either all copy and paste. There's some new surprises and some new things that you will see on year 2.
Cool. And for example, a Yule Festival, will that return?
Maybe.
Okay. He, by the way, after that said that the Yule Festival could return, so it's not 100% confirmed. It would be kind of wild as well to have the Halloween Festival and then immediately after that the Yule Festival. But yeah, it does make sense with him also saying that they will have some stuff from year 1 come back in year 2. And if they improve the previous issues, maybe add some new rewards for people who already played it the first time around, then I think it could be pretty fun to do the Yule Festival again. So I think that is 2021, which is still kind of big if indeed those Mastery challenges are also planned. I think it's possible, but then early 2022 is when it gets more exciting. One thing from the Dawn of Ragnarok leaks that I haven't discussed yet, but that is very interesting, is that there will be a boost available to power level 340, so you can immediately jump into the new content. You will then get skill points, the Raven Clan armor set, Varin's axe, Raven Clan shield I would imagine, and the Hunnish bow. And this info is, by the way, thanks to Andy Reloads, and I will of course leave a link to his channel in the video description. But yeah, let's quickly touch on these rewards, because I think they're pretty bad. They're not like really bad. I'm sure you can survive the DLC with it, because like gear doesn't really matter anyways. But in Origins, when using the boost to play the Curse of the Pharaohs DLC, you at least got one weapon per weapon type, so you could also switch it up. And because there's no random loot in Valhalla, this feels kind of lackluster. Like, I'm sure you are forced to play with this loot for quite a long time before you find something better. Maybe there's more that we're not seeing here, but if those are all the items you get for a boost, that would pretty much suck. But the point is not bashing the items you get if you decide to do the upgrade. No, it's more the fact that there is a boost coming. For one, this means that the DLC is more endgame focused, which is cool, like 340 as a required power level should be like more challenging, but also that they want to make it as easy as possible for people to jump into the new content. If you bought the game but quit early, or maybe never bought Valhalla, then knowing that if you jump in, you can immediately play that hopefully cool looking Dawn of Ragnarok DLC is of course more enticing. Sure, they did this for Odyssey as well, for the Fate of Atlantis, like it's common for these mythical DLCs, but I also think this means that they want more people into Valhalla. But to be fair, I do think it might be a bit of a harder sell than with Origins and Odyssey, because I personally think that the quality of the post-launch has been worse than what we saw for those previous games. And then I'm not really talking about the rollout of some of the contents, the long waits in between new drops, the mostly meaningless rewards because of how the stat system works. No, I'm mostly talking about the quality of the Season Pass DLC. Like, I personally think if you compare Wrath of the Druids and Siege of Paris with the Hidden Ones DLC and the Curse of the Pharaohs that we got in Origins, that you're looking at way better content for Origins that actually included a lot of new and exciting stuff for us to do, instead of more of the same in a different time period. Same for the Fate of Atlantis, of course, for Odyssey, that had more exciting new additions than the Siege and the Druids combined. Like, I think that the paid content for Valhalla was kind of weak overall compared to the previous titles. Sure, I loved toying around with the new weapons, some of the boss fights were awesome, some of the story moments were great, but for $40, you really want the DLC to learn things from the main game and apply them to the new content, and we did not see that. I think it's mostly because they were made by separate teams and not the main team that did Valhalla, but yeah, it totally hurt the quality, I think, of the offering. So my point is that coming out and asking for more money for more DLC is, I think, going to be an uphill battle. And I asked Jose about a second season pass for the game, and the answer was pretty interesting. A year 2 season pass, is that something people should expect or not?
I think at this point it's too early to tell, but
Okay.
I wouldn't necessarily. Most of the content that we are giving you guys, it's free content, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm not sure that we would consider that necessary. Maybe I'll get in trouble with my big bosses, but we, as you notice, our focus has been on being as generous and explorative as we can, and we definitely want everybody to try all this free content that we're giving. I mean, hence that's why it's free, right?
Yeah.
We want you guys to engage, to play it, to enjoy it, to give us feedback, which has been pretty rewarding within itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you probably will see that format continue.
So I then once again asked, will we see a second season pass? This was July 30th of this year though, so a while back. This is what he said, still wanted to include this.
I wouldn't necessarily say yes or no on a season pass, but for sure the goal has been to give all the players as much free content as we could, because we do want people to play these experiments that we're doing, if you want to call them that.
Like, with the amount of leaks for Dawn of Ragnarok, it totally seems to be a paid expansion. And if you bought the Ultimate Edition, then of course you will have to pay extra, because you already knew what you got when you bought the Ultimate Edition or the first Season Pass of Valhalla. I just don't know if asking people to pay like $30 or something up front to play the new Valhalla content is going to be smart. I personally see two scenarios where, one, they actually make this first episode of the mythical Ragnarok DLC free, but then charge for the second or maybe the third episode, get people in, then if they want to continue the story, they pay. And then maybe we also see new monetization strategies next to Helix packs, like a battle pass. It's going to happen one day for the franchise, so why not test it out now? Or, and this is more likely because it's following like Ubisoft's previous sort of track record, they will do it similar to the Warlords of New York approach for The Division 2. When that was revealed, the base game was suddenly $3, by the way, so it was really easy to at least get into the base game. Not sure if it will get that cheap for Valhalla, but it was treated as sort of a relaunch that really got a lot of people excited with the new paid stuff, but also a ton of free DLC that you could then expect in the weeks and months following the release. We of course know that the Cassandra crossover is coming, so that would be something to say, hey, this is the best time to jump into Valhalla right now. We got this Odyssey free, hopefully DLC coming, so yeah, pay for the second season pass and get going. I'm just curious if you watching would drop $30, $40 on a new Valhalla season pass with maybe 2 mythical expansions, or if you would then be like, you know what, a ton of other games are coming out in 2022, I'm going over to those instead. Like, I'm praying that this doesn't launch in February around Horizon Forbidden West and Elden Ring. That would suck. Like, I don't have that much time. So I personally think they have to be a bit more aggressive, especially if they want completely new people to join Valhalla and a lot of people who like quit in the first month to come back to the game. I think free stuff is going to be the answer, and then hopefully they will like spend money on Helix packs or other things, and of course the second part of the mythical content. The first Fate of Atlantis episode was also at one point free for Odyssey, so Ubisoft tried that stuff out. We will have to wait and see. When we know more, I will of course let you know. I'm really curious to hear your take in the comments down below. And of course we have that 1.4 update coming really soon. I think next week already. So we'll keep you up to date here. Thought to check out my previous video on the Dawn of Ragnarok, the arena, which is very interesting. You can watch it by clicking on the screen. For now, I will see you in the next one, and goodbye.